Many people dream of having a successful career that they love and that provides them with the abundant life that they desire. However, far too many people end up settling short when it comes to career success, working in jobs that they don't enjoy for less money that they would like to have. According to research, 15% of employees worldwide are engaged in their jobs. Only 20% feel very passionate about their jobs. And only 47% of the US workforce are happy at work. This means a lot of people are spending most of the time not really living to their fullest potential or desires to achieve career success. The good news is that having a successful career is something that is largely under your control. If you're wondering how to build a successful career on purpose, then today's episode is for you. Hello and welcome to the Dare to Differentiate show. The purpose of the show is to help you own your voice, value, and visibility with confidence. Whether you're tuning in live or watching the replay, I am so delighted that you're here. Comment to let us know, where are you tuning in from? And what does career success mean to you? Let us know in the comments, what does career success mean to you? Hello. I'm your host, 𝗕tože𝗹𝗹, founder of My Markability, LinkedIn Top Voice, where I help you stand out, get hired, and earn more. Something that I'm really proud of this year is really helping my clients position themselves for career success so that they have the ability to reach next level roles and earn a lot more than before. So in the last 3 years, less than 3 years, my clients have earned a cumulative of over $5 million than before. I know a large part is helping them set up that foundation to set them up for success there. So if you need help with your career transition and job search, feel free to book a complimentary call with me at mymarkability.com/call. And if we're not connected yet, make sure to follow me on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Instagram. And I recently jumped on TikTok as well. Okay, so let me just check in the comments to say hello. Hey, Stephen, great to see you here. Hey, Jen, nice to see you as well. All right. Well, we have an audience from in India. Oh my goodness, that's amazing. Nigeria, awesome. Okay, so today's show is all about building a successful career on purpose with Maya Grossman. And today's agenda, we're going to talk about Maya's career story of how she got promoted 10 times within 15 years of her career. And then part 2 is we're going to share practical tips and advice on how to get ahead of the career game, how to create your own career opportunities, what are the common mistakes in getting promoted, how to land your next level role or promotion, how to be recognized as high potential talent, and lastly, how to accelerate your career success. If you are excited and you're here, type in a +1. Let us know that you're excited and that you're here. Okay, awesome. All right, a few things I want to remind you is that the replay will be available on my YouTube channel, where we'll be adding timestamps later on for easy viewing. Okay, so what I also want to encourage the audience here is to click like and comment anytime, share your thoughts and key learnings and questions, engage with one another. I like to also raise the vibrational energy up as well. So let's type in #GoMaya. She's already backstage waiting to come on the show here. All right, let's type in #GoMaya here. And also a special shout out to my assistant, Jan Del Carlo, Catalonia in Philippines, who's also assisting me today with the chat room here to engage with all of you. We are featuring live today on both our LinkedIn channels, Maya's and mine, and on my YouTube channel and on Facebook as well. Okay, so we should have a good audience chiming here today. Okay, so let me tell you a little bit about Maya. I've been following Maya, I would say, for the last year or so, and it's been amazing to see that her growth on LinkedIn with over 100,000 followers. She is a fellow LinkedIn learning instructor with a course on becoming the CEO of your career. She's also the best-selling author of a book called Invaluable. So I hope you guys all check it out. And we recently connected. She's also joining my business mastermind in Cancun next year. So I'm super excited to be supporting one another and empowering one another there. So let's bring Maya to the show. Welcome. Hi, Maya.
Hey, Diana. So happy to be here. And thank you for that amazing intro.
I'm so excited. I've been looking forward to this show this week, and I just love seeing your growth and your following and just you like sharing really practical tips and advice of how you really build your career in corporate hair.
Yeah, I'm a practical person. I don't like a lot of fluff. I like to get right down to business and give people advice that they can actually implement so they can see results really quickly.
Amazing, amazing. So you guys are going to get a lot of golden nuggets today, step-by-step practical advice. So we're going to kick things off with some questions about your hair. So Maya, what inspired you to do the work you do today? What do you love about what you do?
Yeah, well, today I am a career coach and I help high achievers grow their career, level up, and earn high six figures and do it on their terms. And I think for me, very early on in my career, I had no idea what I was doing. I was just cruising along. I took the first job that I could find and I got stuck. And at some point, I had this aha moment of wait a minute, I can actually choose what I want to do, but it was really complicated. I spent 7 years in an industry that wasn't nowhere near where I wanted to be. And I had to move into a completely new profession at the age of 28. So I restarted my career. I took action and actually got results. And initially I thought, okay, this is a fluke. I was just lucky. But then I had to do it again. And I used the same tactics and it still worked. And that's when I realized, okay, I have something here. And I kind of started playing with it, turn it into a strategy, turn it into a system that I can continue using over and over again. And throughout my career, I shared it with my friends, my employees, and they all loved it. And they all were able to
Mm.
grow their careers. So about a year ago, I made a decision to quit my day job as a VP of marketing and help other people build fulfilling careers.
Oh, that's so amazing. I want to give a clapping emoji here. The courageousness of quitting your day job to do this and help other people. So let's get more tactical here. It's like, what were your key success factors in getting promoted 10 times over 15 years? What are
Yeah,
like the top
so
three or so? Yeah.
I know. Initially, I didn't know. I was just doing what I thought was right. But at some point, I kind of sat down and tried to write down what it was. And when it comes to a promotion, there are 5 things, and I actually have a name for it. I like acronyms, so I call it the startup framework. And essentially, there are 5 things you need to get promoted. You need a promotion strategy. You need to have the right advocates on your side. You need to have the right reputation. So you need to shape how people perceive you. You also need to have very specific achievements. This is not about working more hours, it's about doing the right things. And lastly, you want to have a killer business case that's going to take your promotion from maybe to hell yes.
Ooh, I love this. Oh my goodness. Can you guys please type in the comment what were some golden nuggets Maya just dropped? Let's just type it in. Maya, if we can maybe just dive in one of them, like we can maybe just type a little dive in one of them. What does that mean? Like I love the one you talk about business case. What does that really look like to someone
Yeah.
building a business case?
Oh my gosh, that's the one thing I think most people skip. I mean, very few companies actually ask you to demonstrate how you're going to impact the business. But when you think more strategically, you realize that one, most people have a very short memory span. So you may have done incredible things throughout the year, but most of them don't remember. So building a business case is a really great way to put it all together in one place.
Yeah.
Number two, most people think that in order to get a promotion, they just need to do a good job. They think it's about the past, but a promotion is actually about the future. It's about your potential to do more complex work, to bring more value. And when you create a business case, you also include a plan for the future. Once I'm promoted, here's what I'm going to be able to do. Here is the impact that I'm going to make. And that's how you move your promotion from a maybe to a hell yes. You remove ambiguity. You give your manager and the relevant stakeholders an example of what they can expect so they don't have to wonder. They know when I am promoting Maya, this is what's going to happen. It looks
Yeah.
great. Let's do it now.
Yeah. So what I'm hearing, the learning here is not only you're providing evidence of support about your past track record of success, but you're also looking to the future of predicting of how you can really add value. So you are painting that picture, the vision of what's possible, how you're going to help them achieve their goals. That makes it easier for your boss or employer to say, heck yes, we're going to
Yeah.
promote you, right? I want to share with you a little secret of when I worked at Google as a recruiter. This was like 10 years ago. And I actually had to write tons of business cases to justify why we should hire someone. I talked to tons of high performers, great track record of success. I had to write like what I call like a report card of this person's track record of success, like really quantifying their accomplishments, the results, the value, being very specific to build a case so that they can be brought to the hiring committee to review essentially this business case of why we should hire someone. So I love that you brought this on about building the business case, because it's not just saying like they're great, they're awesome, but we've got to have this proof, the evidence there.
Yeah, and like I said, it's human psychology. People really don't remember. Even your manager, the person you meet almost every week, they're not going to remember everything the same way that you do. And a business case really demonstrates progress. You can show throughout an entire year or 6 months what you were able to do. And it's just so much more impressive. And it's a really visual example as well. I'm a visual learner. It's great to kind of talk about something, but when you can show, not just tell, it makes a huge difference.
Show, not just tell. All right. So before let's just say what Stephen commented. Document your wins and connect the dots in order to build your business case. Promotions are propositions that show your future impact. Yes.
Love that.
Yes. Yeah. What else here? Sydney said a promotion is about the future, not the past. Makes great sense. Yes. Awesome. So for those who are just joining, I want to welcome you all. I see there's both on our channels here on LinkedIn, Maya, that there's over 100 of you tuning in live. So welcome to the show on how to build a successful career on purpose. So Maya, tell us about your book, Invaluable. What inspired you to write it?
It's kind of a funny story. So I was in marketing for 15 years. And throughout my career, one of the things I loved the most is just helping others, right? Working with my team, working with colleagues. I always like to give career advice. And I found myself giving the same advice over and over again. And being the practical person that I am, I figured, oh, I'm just going to write it down. It's going to be so much easier, right? Every time someone asks a question, I'll just send them whatever I write. And I was actually on an airplane that day. I had a really long flight. So I figured, awesome, I'm just going to use this time to be productive. And I started writing. But then I realized, this is not going to be a blog post. I have so much to say. Maybe I can turn this into a book. So by the time we landed, I had a frame for the book. I knew what I wanted to talk about. And then I took the next year to actually write it.
Oh my goodness. So it only took about a year to write the book?
It took about a year. I mean, obviously, I didn't just write the book. I did other things, but it took about a year to write it, to do the design, to publish it, everything that goes into it. And I had a really iterative process. The marketer in me knew that I need to work with my readers because I wanted to make sure that the book is going to make sense and going to make an impact. So I actually wrote 3 chapters. I send them out, not to friends, but actually to people on LinkedIn that I got to know over the years. And I got feedback. And some of that feedback was not great, meaning they were very kind, but it was clear that it was too complex. People, didn't really get enough value. So I scraped everything and I started again. And I got more feedback until it got to a really good place where people got it, they loved it, they were excited. And that's how I ended up with the book.
I love it. I love the marketing you of testing it, getting feedback before having it all written. So as an aspiring author myself, what's your best advice for me or other aspiring authors are writing a book?
Just do it.
Just do
Seriously.
it.
I mean, when you think about it, so it took me 3 years, right? It was on my list, like one day I'll write a book. For 3 years, I completely ignored it. And eventually, I just sat down and wrote it. Now, when you think about writing a book, it sounds so big and complicated. And all you do is open up a Word document and write. Literally, that's it. And that's so easy. So I would just say do it.
Yeah, just do it. Just do it. So in your book, I know you broke it down into tips. If we can highlight just that one tip that had just maybe received a lot of feedback, what's that one tip that you can share with us here?
So the book is called Invaluable, and I go over the 10 skills that you need to skyrocket your career. And surprise, surprise, they're all soft skills. And one of the main things in how we start the book is having an owner's mindset. And when I say that, a lot of people think, oh, you just want me to work 24/7. But that's actually not true. Having an owner's mindset means that you're going to work smarter, not harder. You're able to see the bigger picture, but also the details. And you learn how to ask really good questions so that you're focused on outcomes and not outputs. It's just a different way to look at your career instead of seeing it from an employee perspective. Things happen to me. I have no control. When you have the owner's mindset, it's all about you. You run the show, you make decisions, and you create things for your own good.
Amazing, amazing. Okay, let's elaborate a little bit further because I'm sure you've done a lot of hiring as well. In your mind, being like on the hiring manager side, like what are some ways or examples people have really demonstrate the owner's mindset?
Oh my gosh, I have a great example for you. It's something I have used throughout my career and people have used with me when they applied for jobs, but they don't just apply online. And it kind of goes back to the show, don't tell. So they would create what my friend Austin Belsack calls the value validation project. They'll give me an example, they'll show me exactly how they do work. So I remember someone who reached out to me. She actually didn't apply online at all. She reached out to me on LinkedIn and she said, hey, I've been following you. I've been following the company. And I've noticed that you have this specific problem. And I've been thinking about it a lot. And I actually created a plan on how to fix it. And she sent me a link to a document. It was super simple, not like a fancy presentation, very simple, very straightforward. And it got me really interested because one, this person took the time to understand my problem. And then she took the time to actually find a solution. So that immediately got her the interview. And she made it all the way to a final candidate. And at the end, it wasn't the perfect fit. But let me tell you a secret. We stayed friends. And throughout the years, we've helped each other get jobs, network, and do a lot of different things because she reached out. She did something different. She stood out and she showed me. She didn't just tell me what she's capable of doing.
Oh, I love that. Being proactive, showing someone this is amazing. I want to hear from the audience. What are some ways that you've really demonstrated the owner's mindset? What are some ways that you did demonstrate that to show someone that you have the capability to do that? I'm going to share a quick story. Like back in the corporate day, when I made the big career pivot internally from operations to marketing, and I knew it was really hard to get into marketing, like you need years of experience, I really built a business case of why I'd be a great fit, but also really showcase of the things that I've done that are related to marketing or how I really understand that the customers. So it's going above and beyond. It's not just saying like, hey, I'm a great performer, you should bring me over there, but it's really giving that proof. That's really important. Maya, you mentioned something about outcome versus output. Can you elaborate a little bit on that? I don't know if everyone got to understand the difference between outcomes versus output and why is that important?
Yeah, actually, one of the most important things you can do for your career is to understand the difference between the two. So, an output is a quantifiable metric. It's the number of things you have produced. So, for example, as a marketer, it's the number of blog posts that I can write. If you're in sales, it's the number of sales calls that you actually make. An outcome is the result. So in our example, if my blog posts actually drove traffic and that traffic converted into purchases. If it's about sales, the amount of calls that actually translated into contracts. Now, a lot of people spend time on the outputs. I need to make 100 calls. But the only thing that actually matters is the outcomes, because if you make 100 calls, none of them converts, you just wasted your time. But if you make 10 calls and all of them convert, that's 100 times better. And I think sometimes people get lost in focusing on the outputs. And I can give you a great example. This is a story. I was doing some consulting and I worked with a team that didn't have a huge marketing budget. And they have decided that all they're going to do for that entire year is create 50 videos with testimonials from customers, which is a great idea. So they created the first 10, they uploaded them to YouTube, they did nothing to promote them, and they went back to create the rest of the videos. And that was around the time that I joined. And when I got there, I asked them, hey, why are you continuing to create videos if the ones you have right now don't really do anything? And the answer was, well, but we decided to make 50. And exactly, output, focusing on the output.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
this is when we had a really great conversation. And I suggested to do something different. I said, let's try and promote the videos that we have. That will actually give us an indication about whether or not we're doing the right thing. So we did that for a little bit. The videos didn't really catch. So we went back to the drawing board, and instead of creating 40 more videos that don't convert, we came up with an idea for one video that we're going to test. We created that video, then we promoted it, and instead of the 0 views that the previous 10 videos had, this one video got them 50,000 views that then converted into business. But that was the difference. They actually spent less time creating one video versus 40, but they focused on the outcome instead of the output. And when you learn how to do that, that's how you become an invaluable employee. That's how you become high potential talent, because you're going to give the company more for every minute and hour that you actually spend working.
Ooh, this is juicy. Okay. Focusing on the outcome over the output. Outcome over output. And I love the example you shared with us, because what I'm hearing from me, the word I use is, what is the bottom line impact? What is the bottom line impact with your outputs? Right? How is this either generating more sales, more opportunities, growth, whatever that is? What's that bottom line impact? And it's really, really important, because when you understand that impact or the outcome here, you're positioning yourself for success as a high potential talent. You just said another keyword that I talk a lot about, right? That someone who is a high performer. I remember one of the executives said to me one time, is that someone who's being a high performer does not necessarily equate to being high potential. High performance means you're high potential. And I think it goes back to what you're saying here, is building that business case and showcasing the impact, or what else is possible here.
Yeah.
And I want to demonstrate that.
And there are actually 3 things that move the needle. If you can show that you've contributed to making money, so revenue, saving money, or solving a really big problem that impacts other people around you. If you can do one of these 3 things, you're going to be more valuable to the company, and that means your value is going to grow. That's how you increase your earning potential. That's how you get promoted. That's how you kind of keep growing your career, by thinking a little bit differently, thinking a little bit, more strategically about what you do, instead of spending more hours, which I think unfortunately a lot of people do. But doing more of the same is not going to get you to the next level. Doing next level work is what's going to get you to the next level.
Ooh, doing next level work is what's going to get you to the next level.
Yeah, before you get the title. And I think this is where a lot of people get it wrong.
Yeah. So what I'm hearing is, it's going back to that mindset, right? Also, like, looking ahead is so important, and really anticipating here, to being really strategic about it. So amazing. Oh my goodness. We have such a great audience. I just want to say hello to the show, like, on how to build a successful career on purpose. Maya is dropping some value bombs here. So thank you. Like what did Stephen just shared here is outcomes focus on understanding the greater context of your contribution. And that's how you distinguish yourself. Absolutely. So let's move on here. Let me move on. First of all, I want to tell those who are just joining, check out Maya's best-selling book, Invaluable. Okay, check it out. And the other thing is also check out Maya's LinkedIn course on becoming the CEO of your career. Right? When did it come out, Maya, your course?
A few months ago. But it's doing really well. I think we have close to 10,000 people who have already gone through it.
Amazing. Check it out, because it's free. It is a nano course. So it's a free course. It's unlocked. So how long is yours? Is it?
11 minutes. It's 11 minutes to change the rest of your career. Yeah.
There you go. 11 minutes to change the rest of your career. I also have a course on presenting with confidence. It's also a nano course. It's about 20 minutes long. So check that out as well if you want to up your public speaking skills there. So Maya, I want to ask you, like, what has 2022 taught you?
Oh, wow. That's a good one. Oh my God. I think 2022 was a reminder that anything is possible. Now, because I believe that. I believe humans are possible, can achieve anything they set their mind to, as long as it does not defy the laws of physics. And we have examples all around the world, right? People with different backgrounds, with difficulties, overcoming everything, doing the impossible. And I think anyone can do that, especially in their careers. But sometimes we forget, especially when we have a really, big challenge ahead of us, when something changes, when we have to restart a pivot. And that's what I did late last year. So for me, this was a reminder that anything is possible. And if we set our mind to it, we're going to make it work. I was worried, just like everyone else. I still have imposter syndrome. I was worried I'm not going to be able to build the business that I wanted. I won't be able to help, as many people as I wanted. And this year has exceeded all expectations. And I know that next year is going to be even better. So yeah, it was just a good reminder that anything is possible.
Anything is possible. Having that possibilities mindset is key, right? Of all the new possibilities. For me, I would say this year has been really designing the business and career that fits the lifestyle that I want. So be able to say no to things that no longer align with me, and not feel guilty about taking extended time off there. And that allowed me to dream bigger and attract new opportunities that I want to do more of, such as speaking and training there. So that's been a big thing for me. Audience, comment, let us know, what has 2022 taught you? Would love to hear from you as we're approaching year end. What are some of the big lessons learned here? So let's move into our topic question here is how to get ahead of the career game.
Okay, I love this question because it's basically the philosophy behind everything that I teach. And it goes back to that owner's mindset. And I like to think about it as being the CEO of your career. So thinking like the founder of a one-person company instead of thinking like an employee. Because when you're in charge, you can change everything, you can improve, you can grow. When you're an employee, when someone else tells you what to do, it's a little bit more difficult to see the possibilities.
Ooh, I love it, love it. That is so good, right? How to get ahead here. Amazing. My next question is how to create your own career opportunities.
Okay, so if you're the CEO, if you're in charge, that means you need to have a plan or a strategy. And I think, what happens a lot of times, it's, the end of the year, the beginning of the year, and people have resolutions. But statistics show that around mid-February, 75% of people quit on their goals.
Yeah.
So we do not want to do that with our careers, because I genuinely believe if you have a plan, if you follow a very structured playbook, then you know what you need to do every single day. So you don't procrastinate, you don't forget to invest in yourself. You just have a habit of working on the things that are going to help you grow. So I think having that strategic plan, actually designing what you want, and then building the step-by-step to get there, I think that is what makes the biggest difference.
Can we maybe just do some storytelling here? I feel this is a big one, right? And creating your own career opportunities. And what are some things like you've done in creating opportunities, or even your clients have done?
Yeah, I think a good example from my career, even at the VP level, I was interviewing for different roles, and I wasn't getting the opportunities that I really wanted. So I asked myself, okay, I want to take another VP role at a startup. I'm not attracting the right opportunities. What can I do for myself? So I kind of try to ask myself, okay, what's another way to find the right startups? And for me, that was to go straight to the VCs. So can I find venture capital companies that have a great portfolio of startups that's going to be interesting for me? And then all I need to do is reach out to one person that would have a conversation with me, and they can introduce me to a variety of companies. So I spent a lot of time doing that, building the relationships, trying to get to the right people. And eventually that's how I got both my first VP role and my second VP role through VCs instead of just regularly applying. And I think that was a really great way to create an opportunity. But I want to share with people who are maybe earlier in their career an example, which I think changed my entire career. So I did not start in marketing. I actually started as a travel agent. And for 7 years, I was working for a travel agency until I realized it's not what I want to do for the rest of my career. But I was kind of stuck. I spent 7 years in a very specific industry, learning a specific profession. And then I wanted to pivot into marketing, but there was actually no connection between the two. I had zero marketing experience. How would I get a job doing marketing at the age of 28? So I was really confused. I was not sure what I'm going to do. But the pain of not doing anything was a lot bigger than trying something. So I had an idea. I went to my manager and I said, hey, I've been with this company for almost 7 years. You know me, you trust me. I really want to learn more about marketing. Would you mind if I created like a Facebook page or Twitter account? I'll do it in my spare time, but I want to promote the agency through social media. It will allow me to learn. It will benefit the company. It's going to be a win-win. And my manager immediately said, of course, why not? I mean, go ahead, do that. And I did that for 6 months. I got real results. I got hands-on experience. I got a little bit of the confidence that I can actually do marketing. And then I went out and applied for marketing roles, and I got one. So 6 months of volunteering, but volunteering to do work that was going to benefit me allowed me to make that pivot into marketing and completely changed my career.
Wow. I love that story. I love that story. You got strategic and intentional about it, right? Really being proactive and managing your career. Something similar I'll share that happened to me was early on in my career, after 3 years, it was part of a leadership program where I rotated from like operations training and marketing. I wanted to pivot into consulting. I want to try something different, particularly more in talent management, human capital consulting, because of my passion in people. So one of the strategic things I did back then was I decided to invest in an MBA. I mean, obviously it was an expensive education and training, but I knew, just from my research that a lot of top consulting firms will recruit from these top MBA schools. So I decided to go back to make that investment. And, I got rejected by all these big name consulting companies. And there was this one company that rejected me that I knew that I wanted to join because my former boss used to work there. And I was able to follow up with a note telling them that my former boss, believed that I'd be a great consultant, something along those lines. And within minutes, I got an interview and
Nice.
I got hired. And so talk about creating your own career opportunities, right? Creating that. And one of my philosophy is that if you are heading somewhere that you want or you're interested in, start talking about it. Tell people about it, right? Because that's part of also manifesting it, or for people to keep you in mind for opportunities as well. And I think this ties back to building a brand and reputation there, because after consulting, I pivoted into recruitment, which is huge difference there, right? Of going into recruitment. But because of my reputation of having a passion for people, my MBA classmate recommended me to recruit for the top MBA school that I graduated from. And so that helped me make that pivot there, which then led to getting also recruit at Google Canada.
Incredible.
Because of my work there. So talk about, I think about creating those opportunities for yourself. Sometimes you may not know what exactly it is like yet, but if you start talking about what you're interested in and that people know this is something you're interested in, they're going to keep you top of mind. And that really changed the trajectory even with my business because of my recruiting work at Google, which is why I do what I do today about how to differentiate, how to stand out as top talent. It was because of that work, right? Of being intentional of where I want to play, essentially.
Yeah, and there are actually two really important things that you mentioned here. First and foremost, you got to ask for what you want. People
Yes.
don't read minds. You have to ask for what you want. You're going to miss 100% of the opportunities you don't take. Always ask, especially when it comes to a promotion. You need to have a conversation about it.
Yes.
The other thing you mentioned was about building your reputation and sharing your goals. And I think a lot of people stay away from that. They think, oh, I'm going to look greedy. I'm going to look, too ambitious. I actually think it's exactly the opposite. When you share your goals and your dreams, you inspire people, you demonstrate that you have a vision, that you can think strategically, and you just open doors for yourself. So always share it. Now, obviously, be smart about how you're sharing it. Don't go around saying, I want to make a lot of money. Talk to people about the impact that you want to make. Talk to them about the value that you're going to drive, and you'll be amazed at how many doors are going to open for you.
Absolutely. Okay, it looks like the audience is really engaged right now here. Like, Orlando just said that this is on fire. Stephen wrote, Maya, I love how you're proactive and gave yourself stretch assignments that gave you the needed experience. And Cindy also wrote that you had an open mind manager that wanted to see you succeed. Fantastic. That's amazing there. Yeah, volunteering is key here. Absolutely. Yeah, let's continue the conversation here. I love this. So let's talk about what are the common mistakes people make in getting promoted?
Oh my gosh, this is a painful one, but I'll definitely go ahead and share so people can learn from it. First and foremost, and we kind of mention it, people don't ask. They just assume their manager is going to read their mind and give them a promotion. So, mistake number one, you have to ask, you have to apply, you have to do something about it. It doesn't normally happen. We also talked about the fact that people think that a promotion is a reward for a job well done. It is not. You can be very good at your job and still not get promoted. A promotion is a vote of confidence that you can do next level work. So you need to demonstrate that you can stretch, that you can think more strategically, that you can do this type of work. So I think that's another mistake, spending hours and hours doing the same thing instead of doing the more strategic things that are going to demonstrate that you're ready. And I think one more challenge is that people wait way too long to start talking about a promotion. It's a process. You shouldn't wait till like a week before a performance review. You need to make a decision that you're ready to start working towards the next level. You need to then do the work for a couple of weeks or months, depending on where you're starting from, so that when the performance review comes or the promotion cycle happens, you don't have to start from scratch. You have the right advocates, you have demonstrated the right skills, and that's going to make it so easy for your manager to say, hell yes.
Yeah, I cannot agree more. I cannot agree more here. It's really, what do you call it? Sprinkling these breadcrumbs throughout the year. It's not waiting till performance year in review to ask for that promotion. And I remember actually when I worked in corporate, I actually did a study, a research in my department. There's over 300 people in my training role. And what was really interesting was that majority of the employees thought they were ready for a promotion, and majority of the managers thought they were not ready for a promotion. So there was this gap, a misalignment and gap of what employees felt versus what management felt. And I think part of it is what you've been talking about here is build that business case, have an owner's mindset, be proactive, right? Showcase all these outcomes. Like there's the things that you can intentionally do to be top of mind, to showcase readiness.
Yeah, and I'll give you one tip, one piece of advice that can change everything. And it's so small and stupid that you're going to laugh when I share this. So usually when your manager is going to be the most important stakeholder when it comes to your promotion. So you want them on your side. And what most people do when they have a one-on-one is they start a complaining session, right? It's your one-on-one. You talk about all the challenges, all the problems, everything that's going, off course, which is what you should be doing because your manager can help you. However, research shows that if you start a conversation with positive priming, then your manager is going to be more impressed. They're going to be less judgmental. They're going to remember what you started with, and they're going to change their perception of you. So making a tiny, tiny change, like deciding that every one-on-one is going to start with you sharing what went well this week, how you have succeeded, and then you can go and complain. That little change is going to make a huge difference in how your manager perceives you for the rest of the year.
Oh my God. I love this very practical tip because to me, it's like what you focus on expands or the impression that you want people to remember, right? You just start that like, hey, this is what I achieved this week and this is what I'm proud of. And here are some things or challenges I'm faced with that I'd like to get your feedback on.
Exactly.
That changes the feeling of being more, I feel like, solution-oriented type of mindset versus a bit of that victim's mindset there.
And also, I mean, come on, your manager is going from meeting to meeting. Every meeting is just challenges and problems. They're stressed. And finally, they get to talk to you and you're going to tell them something positive. Maybe you're even going to tell them, oh, thank you for the feedback from last week. I've actually implemented it. And, I was very successful this week. So making a tiny change in how you do your work can make such a massive impact on the perception that people have. Because unfortunately, perception is reality, right? You can be amazing. And if no one knows what you're doing, they're going to create a perception that, maybe you're too quiet because they haven't heard of you, or maybe you haven't raised your hand in a meeting, so you're not leadership material. And it's really annoying that people make assumptions, but this is what we all do as humans. When we don't have context, when we don't have enough information, we just complete the story. So instead of letting people come up to their own conclusions, you can shape their perception. And this is a great example on how to do it. Just start with the positive, and that's what your manager is going to remember.
Yeah. So I just summarize. True promotion is perception. True promotion is perception. I love that. So we got a couple questions from the audience here, Maya. And if you guys have any questions, feel free to type it in here. So the question is around like the relationship here is, how do you build the right advocates?
Okay, love this question. For the longest time, I thought, I'm just going to keep my head down. I'm going to outwork everyone else and I'm going to win. I completely ignored people. But this is important. People promote people, not a machine. Other people are going to sit in a room and make a decision whether or not you're going to get this promotion. So you should really make sure that you know who these people are, that you build a relationship with them early, not a week before performance review. Actually build a relationship, because people will go to bat for you if they like you and if they trust you. So those are two things you need to accomplish. And when you find the right people, you can start a relationship with them. You can find ways to add value. Even if you don't have a direct working relationship, you can check in every couple of months, maybe offer some advice, maybe refer an employee that they can hire on their team, maybe recommend a book that's going to be helpful for their personal growth. Whatever it is, get to know them, deliver the value on a consistent basis. And when you are ready for a promotion, and this is what most people forget to do, let them know. If they're the people who can support you, they need to know that you're doing this. They need to know that you need their help. And if you build a business case, that's going to make their life so much easier to advocate for you.
Oh, make it easier for others to advocate for you. Make it easier for others to advocate for you. This is something I talk a lot about, especially when to job seekers. Make it easier for people to endorse you, to recommend you, to refer you. Make their job easier. And part of it is, how are you managing your brand and your reputation? And what do you want them to highlight about you to showcase your readiness there?
Yep.
So I love that you're highlighting this. Is there a difference in your mind between having a mentor versus a sponsor or advocates? Do we need all of them to get promoted?
Yeah, I definitely think there's a difference. They can overlap, but not necessarily. So I usually think about my advocates as the people who are most likely to be in the room to make the decision. So first and foremost, your manager, and usually your manager's manager. Those are the two advocates you have to have on your list. And then anyone who might whisper in your manager's ears, who they actually listen to. So those are the people I would focus on. When it comes to mentors, mentors don't have to be part of your organization. They don't even have to be part of your company. You can find mentors externally, and you can find mentors on a professional level. So I was in marketing. I actually had another CMO as my mentor. But you can also find mentors who can help you more around navigating the corporate world or thinking more strategically. But I do think it's a bit of a different relationship. What I will say is that one of the most valuable things that you can do is find a mentor at your company, maybe someone who is a few levels above, because even if they're not directly impacting your promotion, they'll have incredible insights, that they will be exposed to opportunities that maybe you can't see. And because they're super senior, they might actually have an opportunity to impact some of those stakeholders that you want to convince. So it's a really, really great way to set yourself up for success.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. So I'm going to build on this question. And this is something I hear from quite a few of my clients as well, like how to build a good relationship with your manager. Now, one of the challenges I sometimes hear from clients who are new to the organization is they feel like they don't get enough face time with their manager, or they're just too busy, or the one-on-one got delayed or got to postpone there. What's your advice on that, of how to continue to build that visibility?
Yeah, well, funny you should ask. Literally this morning, I was exchanging texts with who was the person who was my manager at Microsoft more than 7 years ago. We are still good friends, and he's a close mentor. So that's how you build a great relationship. I think at the end of the day, you have to remember that your manager is a person. And I believe in building a personal relationship, not just a business relationship. So the first thing I usually recommend is to have an agenda-free meeting. And that means you're not going to talk about work. You're just going to get to know this person. And it's so much more important in a remote world because you don't have that like water cooler opportunities. You don't have lunch together. You really want to get to know them. You want to know what makes them tick, what they care about, what they like on a personal level. I found that that makes a huge difference. It makes people a lot more receptive. You build trust. So that's a great practice to start with. And then if you really want to make your manager happy, you need to make sure that your goals, your work aligns to their goals and their work. You want to make sure that everything you do reflects well on them. Because if you can help your manager achieve their goals, they're going to love you. You're going to be their favorite employee, and you're just going to build that really strong relationship. And I think, and this is not about sucking up. This is not about doing your manager's work. It's just, once again, thinking a little bit differently, being smarter, not working harder, but making sure that you can tie the knot, that you can connect the dots, how your work is impacting them.
Yeah, so true, so true. I want to get your thoughts on building upon this, is because another challenge I hear is building a relationship with your manager's manager without coming across I'm going above or over the manager. Do you have like practical tips around that?
Yeah, I think just being open about what you're doing and why you want to build that relationship, going to your manager and saying, hey, I've been such a, huge fan of, this person, your manager's manager. They have a really interesting career path. I think I can learn a lot. I also want to get to know the company better. I want to understand the business at the higher level. Would you mind if I have like a monthly, quarterly skip meeting with this person? And if you have built a good relationship with your manager, they shouldn't have a problem with it. But I know what's going to come up in the comments. But what if my manager doesn't want me to do it? What if they block me? Well, as we said before, if your manager is not on your side, you're going to have a really hard time building your reputation and getting promoted with that company. So work on that relationship first.
Yeah.
And then think about how you can get to the next one.
Yeah, that's great advice there. So Cindy shared that I volunteer for women leaders in pharma and I lead communications for the mentoring program. Mentor is an ideal way to develop your professional career. Absolutely. So let's get a bit more tactical here, and I know this is your area of expertise, Maya, is how to land your next level role or promotion. And I wanted you to talk a little bit about the post you did today of things that you do for career success. What are those habits are there?
Yeah, so what I shared today is that working on your career is a little bit like going to the gym. You can't do it once and expect results. You're not going to get a six-pack if you worked out once. I wish that would work. But unfortunately, this is something that you need to repeat over and over to build muscle, right? And it's the same with your career. You have to work on it all the time. You have to keep growing. You have to keep learning. You need to put yourself out of your comfort zone. So I like to have a routine. Every single week on Sunday, I spend 30 minutes looking at the week ahead and planning what I'm going to do to grow my career, not the day-to-day work, but how am I going to grow my career? And me personally, I spend about an hour or 2 hours a week learning. So I would literally put in like little slots for me to listen to podcasts or read books. And I usually listen while I'm cooking. I like to be very productive. So if I'm already cooking, let's listen to something. And then I also put on my calendar at least an hour every week to actually do the work. And what I mean by that, if I'm thinking about a promotion, and I know that one of the things I have to work on is my communication skills. And I have decided that a great way to do that is to find an opportunity to speak in front of the executive team. Well, I have to ask for this opportunity. I have to think about what I want to talk. When I do have that opportunity, I need to build a presentation. Those are all tasks. So every week I look at my task list and I choose one that I want to work on and I put it on my calendar. And I work really well in the morning, so I would do that before my workday. Some people prefer the evening, and it's just 1 hour. I promise you, everyone on this stream, you can find 1 hour a week to help yourself grow so that you can finally demonstrate that you're ready for that next level.
Oh, I love that. Find 1 hour on your own professional development, right? I would say more than 1 hour, but I remember I actually recently learned, more than 1 hour. I actually recently learned this summer when I was away at the Paris Mastermind, to take it further was to spend at least an hour a day on creating the masterpiece of your life. So your career is part of your life, right?
Yep.
Of investing in other aspects of your life, whether it's your health, your wellness, really spending time on that so that you can create the life that you truly love and the career that fulfills you, and how that will fit into your overall lifestyle as well. So I love that you're talking about this, because a big part is going back to the growth mindset, the learner's mindset. And this is why I love also investing in podcasts, books, masterminds, group coaching. All these things is going to really empower you to take it to the next level. But what's more important, what you just said, is it is really implementing, taking massive action. That would be huge, right? In terms of that quantum leap type of growth there.
Yeah, that's the only difference. I think when people hear the word success, they think talent, or they have crazy charisma, or they have this something about them. It's not that, it's not luck, none of that. The only thing that makes a difference is taking action. That's
taking
it.
action.
Just taking action. That's it.
Take action. I taught, well, take massive action. I attended this warrior camp 10 years ago, and it's all about act in spite of fear. Take massive action, right? If you want something, do it, right? Don't wait. Don't overanalyze it. Okay. That's really, really important. Cindy commented here, Maya, that you are so inspiring. You have shifted my mindset. Thank you. Amazing. Amazing to hear that. We're going to be wrapping up soon. So if you have any other final questions, please let us know in the comments here. So Maya, I have another question for you here is, let me see. Okay. Let's go back to where we're wrapping up here, is how to accelerate your career success. I know you share some stories here as we wrap up, like really for people to think about how to really quantum leap it.
Yeah, well, it definitely starts with mindset, right? If you believe that you're the CEO of your career, if you believe that you have the power to make changes and actually drive your career forward, that's step number one. Because when you don't believe, you will never act. And we just said you have to take massive action. So step number one is mindset. Believe that you're capable. And then it's all about being intentional, not waiting for things to happen, not hoping, not praying, but actually putting together a plan. And if you don't know where to start, just ask yourself, what is the next thing for me? What do I want to do next? And if you can articulate what that is, and it's just about saying, oh, I want to be a senior product manager at a Fortune 500 company. That's a career destination. If you can figure that out, then you can just reverse engineer what it takes. You're going to break it down into little tasks, and every week you're going to spend 1 hour working on that task. That's how you accelerate your career growth. You're intentional, you figure out what you need to do, and then you take action, and you're going to be amazed how quickly you will actually get there. Because most people, I would say, if I had to guess, I would say more than 90% of people never do that. They just go throughout life, they go through work, they just do the day-to-day, they do their work, they complain a little bit, they go home. That's it. But if you're intentional, if you're constantly thinking, what should I do next to grow my career? You're going to grow 37 times faster.
Yeah, 37 times faster. So I'm going to summarize. Bottom line here is mindset, having an intentional plan, and taking massive action. Those are like the three key takeaways. If anyone want to type that in, mindset, intentional, plan, and action here. Okay, so I want to ask the audience here is, what is your biggest takeaway from this conversation? All right, what action will you take? Right, not just the learning here, but tell us, what action will you take as you think about moving into 2023? What action will you take here? Right. So and what's I want to ask you, Maya, is, for those who are thinking about their career life now in 2023, like, what's your best advice for them? What can one start doing now?
I think the best advice I have is to take the last 2 weeks of the year to think about what you really want, what your dream is. And a really easy way to do that is to imagine your perfect day. So sit down and think, if this was the perfect day, if anything was possible, what would I do? And from that, hopefully, you can actually figure out what you want to do next. And then you're going to reverse engineer what it takes. And I'll give you another tip that most people ignore, but the ones who don't make quantum leaps in their careers. Go and talk to people who have the job you want to have.
Yeah.
So if you're dreaming, like me, about becoming a CMO, I spent so much of my time talking to other CMOs before I was even an executive, because I wanted to know what it takes. I wanted to know what their day-to-day looks like. I wanted to learn what I need to focus on in order to get to that level. So talk to people who have what you want. They will give you the roadmap, and then start doing the work. Put 1 hour on your calendar now, today, starting January 2023, to work on your career, because no one else is going to do it for you. No one is coming to save you. No one will ever care about your career as much as you do. So it's up to you to put something on your calendar, to keep yourself accountable, and to actually do the work.
Yeah, do the work. I love this. This is such fantastic advice. Okay, so I'm going to see if there's some specific questions that's relevant we can highlight here to wrap up. There was a question from, I believe it was from 𝗕ซี้, of someone, how to manage if someone takes the credit of your work, if your manager takes the credit of your work there. That was the question.
Okay, so that's very much, I guess, office politics and how you handle those situations. Well, if it happens once, maybe you can let it slide, depending, on what exactly happened and the magnitude of, the taking credit. But if this is something that you see repeating, there are a couple of options. You can have a direct conversation and not blame anyone, but potentially bring up that you were involved in that project and that it would mean a lot to you and to your career if next time you can be included. So not necessarily say, hey, you took my credit, don't do that, even though you want to say that, but you can say that to your manager directly. It could cause some problems. Then you want to be more aware, and you're going to say, hey, can you next time make sure that you include me? It will mean so much for me in my career. So that's one way that you can go about it. Another thing you can do is to make sure that while you're working on a specific project, other people are aware. So you're not working in silo. If you get other people involved, if you share milestones along the way, then it's not going to look like, your manager's project. So they can take credit all they want, but other people will be aware that, you have been building it for a really long time. So not necessarily ideal, but if this persists, no matter what you do, then it's time for you to think about whether or not you want to keep working there.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. I think it's important also, to keep track of it, if it's just ongoing or not, and to be proactive in managing it. So, oh my goodness, I love the comments coming in, Maya. After seeing this, Maya is such a big inspiration to me, and also thank you, Diana, for giving us Maya as a Christmas gift. This was a great topic. I have to tell you all. This was a great topic to end the year. Okay, so let's see what are some key learnings from the audience here. If you're loving this show, it was great. Type in a +1 for us. Talk about next steps. Right, that's one key learning here. Make the long-term plan and take action every week. Yes, reverse engineer. All right, what else here? Lily, share outcomes, not outputs. Think about the impact of my work. That is so important, right? Thinking like a CEO and promoting is about the future. Yes, oh my goodness, we have a great audience here today, right? They're really picking up on a lot of these things here. Steve is giving us actions there, is get my notes app ready, write out everything on my mind, organize next steps, list out connections who can point me in the right direction, and reach out to them. Amazing, awesome. Amazing. Yes. Yeah, the manager's credit, taking credit could impact my next promotion. Yep. Yeah. Oh my goodness. I love the comments coming in. Great insights, valuable takeaways. Thanks, Maya and Diana, for inspiring us. Yes. Oh, wow. Such a valuable information in 60 minutes. Yes. Oh my goodness. This is so good. What a great way to end the show. Oh, I'm going to add podcast while cooking too. That's a good
Love
one.
it. Yeah. Also, when I work out, I need to feel productive.
Yes, I hear you. When I'm driving, I'll usually put a podcast on as well, and I put it on like 1.5x or 1.75x speed, so I could listen to a bunch of them, or when I'm cleaning. So I'm with you with the podcast here. So if you guys like this and want to watch again, feel free to hop onto my YouTube channel at Diana YK All the timestamps will be added as well. I do plan on having my final show of the year next week here. I plan on actually doing another show on reflecting on 2022 and how to plan for 2023. So I'll be sharing some of my lessons learned, highs and lows, and what my plans are. So if you're interested, come join me next Thursday at the same time as well, and come ask me anything there. Maya, tell us a little bit. Where can people find you? I know there's a lot of your audience already here.
Well, obviously on LinkedIn, but anything else you need is on mayagrossman.com. And as you mentioned, I do have a book called Invaluable, and I am launching a new course on how to get promoted, the Promotion Accelerator. So if any of you want to know the step-by-step, exactly what you need to do, get all the templates, including the business case, just go to my website. You'll find it.
Oh, amazing, amazing. I'm so proud of you, Maya. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
You really experienced exponential growth, like being your business this past year. And I love that you built an amazing audience that you have on LinkedIn.
Yeah, my goal, my 10-year goal is to change the lives of 1 million people and make sure that they build careers that they love and enjoy. So it's a lot of work, but I'm here to do it.
Amazing. Oh my God, thank you for declaring that. I love that. I just had goosebumps when you just said that there. I just had major goosebumps. I'm going to be cheering you on and supporting you along the way. So thank you all for being here. I look forward to seeing you next week, and have a wonderful day. Cheers.